Good morning, and happy Monday. Happy Monday. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Listen, while y'all are coming in, let me fetch my tea. Listen here. This is some real on-air business. Y'all come in. Uh-huh. I forgot my tea this morning. How dare I get on here and forget my tea this morning? Having a poor assistant. Good morning. How you doing? 7402. Poor assistant. You're gonna be fired. You're gonna be fired. I am my own assistant, y'all. So relax, relax. But anyway, good morning. Happy Tuesday. Hopefully y'all are doing okay today. I was listening. I was scrambling in here to get all of the things done so that I could get the show started this morning. I had so many ideas and so many things I was working through. But good morning, Myra. How you doing? Y'all get on in here. Good morning, and welcome to Mike in the Morning. Welcome to Mike in the Morning. We are in our second week of Mike in the Morning. So again, this is a new hour and a new time and all those good things for me. So listen here. Hopefully you got your tea, green, or whatever you need, caffeine, to get you started with the day and through the day. Okay, because I got my tea here, and let me see. I always end up putting that in there. My goodness, I hate doing that. Uh-huh. Drinking out of one of my very own mugs. Classy woman of distinction. Y'all can get it over there in the bio. Uh-huh, uh-huh. Okay, let me see. Let me see if my assistant made this well this morning. Let's see. Okay, here we go. All right, assistant. Yeah, you can stay another day. Mm-hmm. All right, y'all. So tap that screen on your way in. We got some good stuff to talk about this morning. So y'all tap the screen on the way in today and stuff like that. And if you feel like gifting, y'all see that TME show up there, go ahead and drop $1 in the tea bucket. That way I can replenish and stuff like that. That's a cash app. Or you can put a gift up there, okay? Or just tap the screen. All of your taps and your well wishes, are documented too. All right. So of course, I like to start my day with updating you all on what I did the day before. And really, I didn't do much. I slept until about 10 p.m., y'all. I slept until about 10 p.m. And let me tell you what happened. So I'm up ruminating. I am listening to stories. I am looking at topics. I'm trying to pull my life together, apply for a couple of jobs. Because listen here, times are hard and we got to listen. Even I have to figure out how to make some money in 2026, some more money in 2026. So I was up doing all that stuff, writing, noting, just everything, mine going a mile per minute. And so then my best friend, he sends me a text for this mixer. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take a nap. I'm like, I'm gonna take a nap. Now this is at 11. So hitting the phone, brum, 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 brum. So then there's this tickets he got for this mixer, and I'm like, what is this? And so he's like, call me. Everything is urgent to my best friend. I don't know about y'all, but do y'all have a best friend that they text you like, call me now, call me immediately, like somebody died? And then your first thought is like, I'm not about to call you. You ain't really got nothing going on. But you feel like maybe the one time that you don't call them back or respond that somebody then passed away or something, and you be just slept the day away, and then you find out tomorrow. It's not like I can do anything to bring him back anyway, but like he's had a friend that passed away recently, and I've had a friend that passed away too. So literally 2 days before New Year's, one of my friends passed away, and I found out a couple of days later. And then later on in that week, one of his friends passed away. So you just never know what's going on. So with that in mind, I was like, well, let me call him back. And so then I called him back, and he's like, oh, there's this mixer, and such and such wanted me to come. And I was like, well, can I bring somebody? So I'll be going to a networking mixer on Wednesday morning. Now, y'all know that's going to mess up my sleeping pattern because I have flipped my days to nights. And so I am literally up from about 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. typically. And then I stay up until, noon the next day. So, anyway, I'll be going to a mixer on Wednesday. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully, I meet some people, meet somebody who can help me push all of my things forward in 2026. And maybe I can get me a real assistant or somebody that's hungry for all this tech stuff. Like I told y'all, I was hoping that one of my nephews, y'all tap that screen while we rap, okay? Unless you're driving, keep your eyes on the road and pay attention, but keep your ears open because it's some good information. But like I was saying to y'all before, like I'm not going to say I'm not good with this social media stuff. And I mean, well, listen, I like doing this. This is easy for me. This is easy, but like cutting the videos and all that stuff that I've been doing, giving y'all the skin content, giving you the fitness content that I just put out, like that stuff is real work to me. And it's not that I'm lazy, but I know y'all don't like to pay people for what they go through because y'all feel like they can go get another job, which is also why I did some applications this morning. You ain't got to tell me what I already know. But again, this is just my life at this point. And I'm like, well, maybe one of my nephews is going to be into tech and social media. And maybe one of them will be like, Unc, listen, I'm 18 or 19 now. And can I come and live with you? Listen, I have 2 bedrooms that are perfectly empty, right? I have and a study, but you can't mess with my study. But listen, just all I need you to do is come in, do what you got to do for you. And then you could be my assistant and help me with this stuff because I clearly can't do it. Now, some of you know I have a daughter, but she has her own 2 children at this point, so she wouldn't be of any service to me. And I'm not saying that women with children can't be of service, but my woman child cannot be of service to me because she was lazy anyway. And so with your dad, you're already gonna be, piddling and peddling. So no, my daughter can't be my assistant. She wouldn't get no work done. I'd be just yelling at her and the kids, so I can't do that. But anyway, so I'm going to that mixer and stuff like that. I slept, I woke up, notes, everything else. Did a couple videos for y'all. So check out my fitness videos. Follow for more. I'm going to be taking you guys through that journey. Like I said last week, I don't like to show people the pictures and the videos of me. You look, this Allie Wick, you said they look good. Thank you so much. I don't like showing that, but after I showed it to you all last week on the show, and some of you are like, "Oh my God, you look amazing! I can't believe that was you, but you still look good, big." I don't like showing that because I really did go through my phone after I kind of got down to my first goal and I was trying to delete every photo, every video. I don't know if y'all are like that too, but when you go back and look at yourself, you like, who is that person? And no, we don't want any more traces of them. And so I did not like showing that, but in this new spirit of like self and reaffirming and affirming and all that stuff, I was like, you know what, Michael, it was a chapter in your life and maybe it'll help somebody else. So if you're liking the fitness content, skincare content, make sure y'all follow, comment, and stuff like that. That way I know y'all are into it. So that's really what I did today. And tap this screen, okay? Tap while we wrap so the algorithm know we're here. All right, so moving on to what we have. The key to social media is authenticity, and it sounds like you're doing just that. Yeah, but listen, Allie, let me tell you, social media is cute and all, but being authentic on social media doesn't always pay. And you have more haters than congratulators, and you have more congratulators than givers, if you understand what I'm saying. So it's very, very time consuming, and there's a lot of effort that goes into it. However, I feel like part of my gift and a part of my responsibility to the world is to take my life experiences and help somebody else feel seen, heard, or understood. So every project that I do and touch is about that. I want somebody to feel seen, heard, understood, more informed, if they so choose to. If not, and it's not for you, just leave it. Leave it. If it's not for you, just leave it and move on. Don't cause any disruption. But yeah, so yeah. hmm all right, y'all. So, anyway, moving on to the stuff that y'all really want to hear about. Thank you, Arnest, for sharing the live. I appreciate it. Teyana Taylor wins her Golden Globe for Best Supporting Actress in the movie One Battle After Another. Her character's name was Perfidia. Now, I saw the movie and I really loved it. It's one of those resistance movies, you know what I'm saying, where the people are fighting back against the throes of the government. And I think the movie is kind of very timely for the place that we're in, depending on how you feel about what's going on around you. But Perfidia was one of those characters that was just a true rebel. I mean, personal and professional. She didn't want to be tied down to a man, and she surely wasn't going to be tied down to the government. But she did use her prowess. that is Teyana Taylor, but channeled through perfidia to get what she wanted out of the men in the situation. And so, anyway, I thought the movie was great. I think that the Golden Globe was well deserved. But most people were comparing her Brown Girl speech to the speech that Halle Berry did for the Oscars in 2002 for Monsters Ball. So here's my thing, right? I didn't care anything about the Brown Girl speech. I think that that was amazing. I think that was very timely and stuff. And I don't see that there's anything wrong with it. People in the comments were saying, well, us white girls too, and we all matter, all girls matter, blah, 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 blah. Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? I think everybody matters, but the moment was just the moment, and I took it for that. But let me tell you the comparison that I drew as other people were down in the comments clawing each other. I just thought to myself, why is it that these women are winning finally in roles that don't depict particularly black people in the best light? Now follow me if you understand and tap the screen if you double understand. I think the awards are well deserved. I think Halle Berry, I think Tiana, they do wonderful acting and do wonderful work. So my issue isn't that it wasn't deserved. My issue is that did you guys see how Halle Berry was depicted in the Monster Ball? I mean, she was bending it over like Beckham for and we all know who that was. What's his name? Tommy Lee. You know what I'm saying? She was bent over for him and stuff like that. I want somebody to make me feel good. That's what I remember. I want somebody to make me feel good. You know what I mean? All strung out and throwing her wows around and stuff like that. And she did wonderful in the movie. That's not all she did, but she did very wonderful in the movie and stuff like that. So then we get over to Tiana, and Tiana's this rebel, yeah, fighting against the government. She's going against the grain, right? So there she is, a rebel and a rouser and stuff like that. And then there's a man in there too that looks very like on his way out, looking like he's two steps from the GRAVE. You know what I'm saying? He looks like that or whatever. And so she's up there throwing it on top of him too, just to get out of trouble and stuff. And then to top it all off, she's a mother that basically drops her baby off no better than a wild dog and just says, "Here you go, fend for yourself." That she had with somebody else. And that's not the problem, but I'm just saying the correlation that I immediately drew was, why is it that when these women that are wonderful actresses and that depict wonderful art, why do they have to be in those roles before they win? You know what I'm saying? Like, can we do something like they win for things like Hidden Figures? You know what I mean? Some very monumental and like life-changing historical, a bound breaking kind of situation. But it seems to be that there is a theme in Hollywood, or Hollyweird as some people call it, where black women who are notable, noteworthy, wonderful actresses only get the awards if they depict something that is stereotypically negative about black women. And I just have a problem with that. I don't know if that's the conclusion that I drew. Tap the screen for me if you feel what I'm saying. But anywho, congratulations to Tiana Taylor for winning her first Golden Globe and the first of one of her major awards that she won. And so, Grand Rising Ritzy. So, very well deserved. She did a very good job acting. But listen here, all of the people in Hollywood, the powers that be, we're watching you and we're side eyeing you too. Because why does it take all that? Monique and Precious. I don't even want to forget about Monique and Precious. But we are side eyeing you and we are watching you. Mm-hmm. Anyway, and Tiana looked great as well. Listen, I was gonna give y'all a rate the looks of the Golden Globes because people keep saying you need to do something with the fashion. You need to do something with the fashion, and y'all know I'm somewhat lazy content. Well, I'm not even lazy. I'm an unmotivated content creator because it's a lot of work. But Tiana looked great in her dress. It was one of the best looks of the night, if you ask me. Now there was another look, but I just couldn't get over the fact that it looked like ruffled aluminum foil over it. But let's just take a look really quick at Tiana Taylor's dress. Look at that. It's oozing all kinds of shape and sexiness and just my gosh, I don't have any panties on. I mean, she was really giving it to him down there. And when she did her acceptance speech, y'all, she said, let me show you what I look like from the back. I mean, just all kinds of bodacious body and gorgeousness coming from Tiana. So I really, really loved her look of the night. I mean, she always looks so sultry and so sensual to me, but Allie, just amazing, 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 amazing. Y'all tap that screen for me. Would you keep me in the rotation? Now, since we're here, this is the dress that I would give almost a runner up, but I just couldn't get over thinking, like, why does she have that extended Reynolds wrap hanging off the back of her shoulders like that? You know what I'm saying? And I was like, if the Reynolds wasn't there to pull us in and kind of distract us and make us question if it's something out of our cabinets and pantry, like, would the dress really be all that nice, or would it just be a basic cocktail dress? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's given Reynolds wrap extended pack, the one that's extra long and extra strong. So I was like, I don't know. Maybe in person it was more stunning. So then I said, well, let me go back and see if it looks any better from the back. You know what I mean? Because inquiring minds want to know, does it look any better from the back? And no, it looks like when you're pulling the foil and when you think you got it, you rip a piece. You know what I'm saying? Just when you think you got a good piece of foil, you rip a piece and then you try to make it work anyway. So anyway, I don't know. But anyway, I'm sure it costs more money than probably what I got sitting in my account right now. So I'm not going to say too much about it. But anyway, love Tiana's look, and I'll get to rating the other people's looks later. So y'all make sure y'all follow, subscribe, and comment and all that other good stuff. And tap the screen. We should be at 5K by now. All right. In other social media sphere news and podcast news, Lady London went on to Cam Newton's podcast to promote her upcoming album and docuseries that will be out on October 10th via Netflix, among her other products. She also has an EP out right now, and I forgot the name of it. It's called Lady Love or Luck or something like that. I can't remember. However, the combo took an interesting turn as Cam seemingly couldn't keep up with her intellectually. Now, listen, I talked about Cam a while back, fashionably late. Welcome to the family. Get in here. Welcome to Mike in the Morning. So I talked about Kim when he did the interview with K. Michelle a while back. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if you all remember that or even know who Cam Newton is or care to listen to his podcast or care to Google him. However, he's a sports turned podcaster and stuff like that. Something like a Great Value, Erica Badu-ish kind of situation, Timu kind of situation with about how he floats around here, a little less enlightened and definitely a little less empowered than our Erica, but somewhere in the sphere of that stuff or whatnot. Now, this Cam for me is just one of those that is really an acquired taste, ladies and gentlemen. And honestly, well, let's just take a look at the video and then I'll weigh in on some commentary. So let's take a quick look at what Lady London and Cam Newton had to say. Oh, wow, that's queuing up. Uh-oh. Well, maybe not. Okay, moving right along. It's not queuing up right now. Apparently my connection is just as bad as his was to Lady London on the podcast. However, so hold on, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. So anyway, Cam is one of those guys for me. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
How would you describe your style in one word? That's an adjective. Can I use a word that I've already used? Sure. Word. Eclectic. Say it again. Eclectic. It's eclectic. Well, heavy on the N because there's no N in it. No. It's my word. Oh,
it's his word.
Okay, got it. Sure word. Eclectic. Spell it for me. N-C-L-E-C-T-A. Okay. Eclectic. Eclectic. Do you want to know what the N stands for? Niggatry. Am I right? Okay. Respectful. You see where I was going? Yeah. Okay. Great. Yeah. I know it's a new word.
So first of all, I didn't know who Lady London was. I've heard her name all over the place because there's this and I forgot his name, but there's this gentleman on here that raps and people are like, "Oh my God, it's giving very Lady London." And I'm like, I have no idea who Lady London is. Tap that screen for me, y'all, if y'all enjoying the show. I didn't know who she was, and so I was like, okay, but I kept seeing stuff about this podcast, this episode going over and over and over again. And so that was the moment that a lot of people talked about. And so, although I don't know Lady London, I remember I did watch some of the podcasts. So at the beginning, right, I think I knew how it was going to go when she referenced her pink gloves And he was like, "So, you usually have the pink gloves." And she's like, "Yeah, you took them from me. And because you took them from me, I thought you were going to wear them since you're wearing pink." So she just kept making references to his pink outfit all night. And you could tell that he's getting upset. He's like, "I don't know what you mean by that pink or whatever." He's like, "I don't know if that's supposed to be a good thing or a bad thing or whatever." But you could tell he was getting really defensive. But I think she was just being very playful and stuff like that because she knew that it would, challenge the masculinity of it all. And so, but a lot of people were saying he definitely couldn't keep up. A lot of people were questioning if Cam really is an intellectually sound guy. I've always held that this is my thing with Cam Newton and guys like Cam Newton. Like I said, the K Michelle interview revealed a lot to me about his thought processes. And before you start yelling or screaming or whatever you're feeling right now, I just have an issue with a man that says, and well, I shouldn't say with the man. I have an issue when he says that he is a man that grew up with the right morals and values because his father was a pastor, or and it is still a pastor, and he really uphold the traditional family structure of the father being in the house and all those things. Yet has three baby moms. Last time I counted, hasn't proposed to none of them, married zero of them. And so that correlation of upholding this superiority over other people and yet failing to deliver on the requirements, to me, is just a really big issue, and it's a really big emotional and intellectual deficit, which I also want to talk about. So I think that there are split groups of people who feel like Cam is just very, very enlightened, in touch, and intellectual. And I think a lot of those people are men. I think a lot of those people are men. And the thing with men is men traditionally don't have a culture of thinking, not really in any real depth, nuance, or breadth of information. Men typically follow what's in front of them, and that's really it. And they not really looking too deep into it because they don't want to address it, not really looking too far beyond today, maybe even tomorrow, because listen, they can't see it for what it is. And so I think when you have somebody like Cam Newton who's willing to have these conversations, who's willing to dive into these nuanced conversations without having the lens to understand the nuance or interpret the nuance. I think people are saying like, "Oh my God, he's so different." And because he's so different, right, they're like, "Oh, he's one of those thinker ones. He's one of those good ones." But really not. In a sea of non-thinkers, the one that thinks the least, the one that thinks the least, but the most. You get what I'm saying? The best at being the worst kind of situation. Good morning, Rose. I think that's the thing with Cam, right? And I think women kind of uphold men like this who are very, very mediocre because for whatever reason, we coddle men. Well, not we as in me, but you all coddle men. Like when they do just a little bit of something right, we're like, yeah, we're gonna shout loud because we want them to do more of that. And so I believe that there are women that have coddled him and there are men that have upheld him just because he thinks a little bit more than they do. And so that's my thing with Cam. But I don't believe that Cam has the breadth or depth to really get into some of these intellectual, yeah, cheerleaders, Allie. I think that, he doesn't have the breadth or depth to really get into nuance of these conversations or the lens to really see it any different than the way that he's lived his life. And I think that's why a lot of people were saying things like, every time he doesn't agree with something, he defers to getting emotional or he defects back to his personal opinion. Like he could never deal with the facts. Well, here's the thing. He's willing to show up to the conversation. He's willing to sit at the table. However, sometimes you don't have all the ingredients to cook with. So when the food is served to you, you don't know what to do with it. Come on, you do something with your taste buds. And so, he's willing to debate. And if you guys continue to uphold and pacify it because he does better than the other people, then so be it. But Cam is so interesting to me, and in a way of like I just like understanding how people think, but I just kind of laughed a little bit in this same interview when he said, you know, part of Cam is like Kanye West, and the other part is like TD Jakes. And Lady London kind of was like, what does that even mean? And so I just kind of laughed a little bit because I said, I don't even think Cam knows what it means, but it sounded good and it sounded prophetic and very enlightened and stuff. So anyway, he showed up to the table, he sat down, but he couldn't digest the food or the conversation. So anyway, that's my thoughts on Cam Newton. But listen, he has a successful podcast that people are listening to, including myself. I listened twice. So good for him and good for Lady London. Hopefully, you all listen to her docu series in October. and you guys listen to her album, and I don't know when that's coming out. Anywho, moving on to more prominent thinkers and things like that. Joy Reid went on the way up with Angela Yee, and she told Angela Yee that no one should listen to anything Nicki Minaj says other than her music. Now, listen, it made me laugh a little bit because, I never really took Nicki Minaj seriously for anything. I just didn't care to. I really didn't care to. And I mean, what she does is what she does. But anyway, let's take a listen to Joy Reid and Angela Yee. Here we go.
What do you think about Nicki Minaj? Listen, speaking of undocumented people, this lady came here, and by the way, we share a birthday, so it's a little weird that we always we've had beef before. So I was a fan of her music. I think she's a musical talent. I mean, just like Kanye West, these are talented musicians. Nobody should never listen to anything she says other than just her music. This lady came here at 5 years old, undocumented. She understands what it's like to be undocumented. Grew up in this city. She's deportable because she definitely was undocumented originally. She is a Trinidadian. She didn't say anything about the killing of those Trinidadian fishermen. I'm quite sure the people in Trinity noticed that she doesn't seem to care about her people. And the idea of sucking up to Trump, not long after you said you don't want a Melania because you don't want a weak woman, right? You don't want somebody that's just sucking up to the president. And after you criticized his deportation policies yourself, and now all of a sudden you're kissing his ass. What do you think happened? I think she has a brother and a husband who've got some serious legal issues around pedophilia. Particularly her brother, who's serving 25 to life or something for the violation of a child or of children. And I think she's thinking, how I could get a pardon? I'll go be friends with the Turning Points USA people. I'll kiss Trump's ass and dance his ass, and maybe I'll get pardons, and maybe I won't get deported. I mean, my cynical self says that she's trying to protect herself, her brother, and her husband from the administration by kissing their ass.
So I didn't know that about her brother. First of all, I didn't even know Nicki Minaj had a brother. To be truthfully honest, I didn't even know she had a sister until that girl popped out, and I still was wondering if that was really her sister. But there were a lot of people in the comments that were saying things like "clock it" or however you do it. I don't know, whatever. But I imagine like whatever you do with that. They were saying "clock it," and then there were other people that were saying it doesn't make sense if she really felt this way and she wanted a pardon or whatnot for her people, that she would have went ahead and voted for him and supported him in his first term. And so, to be honest with you all, I don't know enough about the lady's life other than what's on here. And I don't really care enough to know about what she has going on, to be truthfully honest. And that's in no slight to her or whatnot. I came to the Nicki Minaj music of it all much later. I kind of fell into her R&B-esque kind of rap kind of, situation, and I liked that. But I never really, I don't stand for any artist or whatever they call that. I don't really do that. So I never really cared for anything she had to say other than her music anyway. It was other people buying posters and whatever else she was selling to them and stuff at Kmart. But anyway, yeah, take what you will from it. Maybe something about what she's got going on resonates with you. Maybe it doesn't. But I mean, I never really cared enough, and I really don't care now. So anyway, do what you will with that. But Joy Reid, I just love Joy Reid. Joy Reid is over there doing her own thing on YouTube at the Joy Reid Show, and I absolutely love everything my sister has going on. Opinions, facts, and everything in between. I love all of it. Talent 50, welcome to the family. Welcome. Who else came in here? I don't know, but welcome in. Don't let your first time be your last time. Welcome to Mike in the Morning, and thank you for the gift. All right, so a story from last year resurfaced as a continuous legal battle ensues. Right, clock that. Right, clock that T. So a story from last year resurfaced as a continuing legal battle ensues, according to reports that happened in May of 2025 at a Circle K when an employee got frustrated and was apparently racially motivated to harass one of the patrons. So the patron said that she requested that the clerk cancel a transaction so that she could put her loyalty rewards point number, or however that works, into the situation. And the clerk came around the counter and began to assault her. And I actually watched the video, you all. The lady actually started assaulting her before by throwing stuff at her. But let's take a look at this story and listen to what happened to this lady last year.
Circle K employee loses it behind the counter, turning a rewards point question into a haymaking frenzy. Tonight, the blow-up leads to serious charges and more. And to add insult to literal injury, the customer in that Bowling Green Circle K was pregnant.
Now the victim has filed a lawsuit in federal court naming the now former clerk and the company. And tonight, she and her attorney are speaking out. It's a story you will only see here. And 13 Action News reporter Alexis Means joins us live with this story, all new at 6.
Well, I can tell you that this happened in May. The family was traveling from South Carolina to Detroit and making a routine stop for gas, a pit stop that turned violent. Store surveillance video released to 13 Action News by the victim's lawyer shows the former clerk, Shannon Walsh, throwing items at the customer. Then she comes from behind the counter and attacks the woman. Daria Francis Stooks says the assault caused her to lose her baby.
And then losing a child, whether it was a full-blown baby or just a small fetus, you still lost a child. And the way it happened, it was really, traumatizing.
The 40-year-old woman says she was 8 weeks pregnant when the clerk attacked her. She says she had...
Now, isn't this a shame, y'all? Isn't this a shame? First of all, let me say this to the lady that got attacked. She is the living embodiment of run up and get done up. Because I don't know if you all could see from the video, but you can surely search the story later. Y'all tap the screen for me. Run up and get done up. The lady threw some things at her and charged at her, and the lady handled business. I mean... so kudos to her for knucking if you bucking and bringing that to reality or whatever. But isn't it really sad that if you're working at a gas station or in the service industry, you allow your personal feelings and or frustrations to take you to the point where you are throwing things at somebody over the counter and or coming around and physically accosting them? To me, that's a real lack of self-control and a real lack of restraint. And if it was, in fact, racially motivated, they said that the woman was yelling racial slurs that we couldn't hear in the video. If she was, in fact, yelling racial slurs, I often wonder, what was her boss or supervisor's role in not reporting that and or seeing that prior to, you know what I'm saying? Because I know in my industry, I was at HR for a very long time, and I was an operations leader for a very long time as well. And I could see, even if they didn't do it blatantly in front of me, I could see the characteristics in somebody if they were really biased or racist or colorist, because it's just in them. And you can see it in the way that they interact with other people. So if the supervisor was observing her as she was training or observing her just in a developmental capacity, you would have saw a clear distinction in the way that she treated her other patrons versus her Black patrons. I don't believe that this woman worked here and nobody knew anything. Now, quiet as it's kept, but not so quiet. Maybe the supervisor had the same sentiments and stuff like that. I don't know, but good for this lady to still be suing and staying up with the battle and stuff like that. And, my condolences to the mom for the loss of the baby, even if it was 8 weeks, like she said in the report. Even if it was a loss of life at 8 weeks, she was getting excited. Her and her husband and family were excited to welcome somebody in, and you just never know what her journey was like to get pregnant. And that's the other thing too, that I think some of the naysayers in the comment may not understand, is that not everybody has a seamless journey into parenting or parenthood. You know what I'm saying? We assume, I think a lot of times others outside of Black culture assume that we just lay up, eat Cheetos and Fritos and get pregnant so easily, but that's not the case for every person and or every Black person. Sometimes people have to go through IVF. Sometimes they have to go through other fertilization techniques before they can even get there. And that stuff involves a lot of behind the scenes anguish, cramps, and money, that you wouldn't typically spend. So we don't know what the plight of this woman was to even get pregnant. So for the naysayers that are in the comments saying, well, it was just 8 weeks, it wasn't even really a baby. Oh, go tell that to the people that were standing outside of the Planned Parenthood vying for eggs and Easter baskets and stuff like that. Because this is this woman's life, and her family was getting emotionally and mentally prepared to bring a baby into the world. And now, because of a senseless act of possibly racism and or other hatred or insolence at its least, they will not be welcoming a baby home at this time. So listen here, condolences, rest in peace to the baby. And, I wish the best to the family on, getting pregnant and what they do next. Sue the company and sue her personally and get everything that you can. Okay. And so rewards points are not going to be the only things rewarded. Hopefully a lofty judgment will follow. Okay. So that's my take on that. and good for her, and good for you on whooping that girl down to the floor like that. You know what I'm saying? She got what she campaigned for. All right, so anyway, moving on to family and accepting family. Judge Mathis and family sat down with Tamron Hall last week to discuss accepting your LGBTQ children and family members, and also the impact of his son Greg Mathis Jr., who came out in 2022. But the impact of having to hide it when your father is a prominent Black male figure in a space where Black males don't typically, get involved with that. So let's just take a quick listen at what Judge Mathis had to say on Tamron Hall.
I was living this closeted double life where I was going to work as one person,
That's Greg Mathis
pretending
Jr.
to be straight, not being myself at work, and then coming home and, secretly living this life as a gay man. My family knew, a close circle of friends, but other than that, it was,
And so I thought, okay, my son is he's finally able to be who he is.
Look at that husband.
And that's what's
Look
important
at that
to me.
husband.
I don't want you to hide who you
That
are.
is a good-looking
I don't
husband.
hide who I am. Yeah. I don't hide who I am. And so it hurt me to know that. And so since that time, I've gone out of my way to try and influence the average person about the LGBTQ community, and particularly my son.
And look at the wife, looking very proud. Very proud wife.
Particularly Black men who are too coward to embrace their
Somebody said, you better say it.
son. You are coward. I did it out
Proud
of
mom.
courage. I did it out of courage. And if you can't embrace your gay son out of courage, then you are a coward.
Well, you better say that, Judge Mathis. You better say that. So I love that whole impassioned speech that Judge Mathis gave on behalf of fathers and fathers of color and stuff like that don't accept your children, and don't do it out of being a coward, as he so eloquently put it. But I think this is one of those beautiful stories where a man that is in a prominent position takes it and uses it as a tool for everybody. And that's what we should be doing, because in a world where a lot of people were expecting Judge Mathis or Greg Mathis Sr. to denounce his son for being gay, all the while he knew and the family knew, but the son kept it a secret because he didn't want to impact his father's, happenings. Judge Mathis was on, his show, his courtroom show that was very, very popular. A lot of people look to him as a pillar in the community, and he gives the tell it like tell it like it is kind of advice. And so he gives what a lot of us in the Black community would say is that strong Black masculine male figure. And so most people expected him to just denounce his son once he came out, but the opposite happened. So they had a show a few years back called Mathis Family Matters, and this part for Greg Jr. was a part of him really just showcasing his life, and this was Greg Sr. really telling his son to open up to the world and that it's okay, and that he was going to be there for him every step of the way. So I remember seeing a lot of this back when the son Greg Jr. came out in 2022, well, late 2021, early 2022. But I remember seeing a lot of conversation happening. But I remember that Judge Mathis just kept on reaffirming his son that it is okay for him to be who he is in public, and that to the naysayers, he said he was going to support his son no matter what. And he has been a very strong voice in it, and he has not been wavering. That is my son, and I'm going to love my son. Now, Judge Mathis does have another son named Amir, who we don't know a whole lot about him right at this point. But listen to him. Good for him being a Black man that loves his son unconditionally, regardless of spirituality, regardless of religious affiliation. That is his son that he brought into the world. And as a father, he was charged to care for his son in every way that he can, in every which way that it matters. And listen, he said the rest is for somebody else to decide. But for me, the only decision I'm going to have for my son is love. And so I really, really love it. So good for both of them, and good for the husband. Did y'all see the husband sitting up there all tall and chocolate-like and stuff like that, holding on to his man's hand all vehemently and stuff like that? What is that? Vehemently and stuff like that. Just real strong. Like, I was like, now that's what I'm talking about. good strong man sitting up there holding his hand. And I was so happy to see the mother cheering both of them on. Like I love the pans to the mother's face when she was just proud of her boys. She's like, yeah, them my boys right there. Yeah, them my boys, and I love them. So good for them. The son married his partner that we see in the video. His name is Elliot Cooper. They got married in 2024. So I told you guys he came out in 2022 publicly. They were dating long before that or whatever. But good for them in their self and family journey. And may they all stay happy and loving. I just love to see stuff like that. So good morning, Juan. How you doing? CB, Chantel, good morning. Good morning, good morning. Lily, thank you so much. Welcome to Mike in the Morning, y'all. Mike in the morning. Welcome to Mike in the morning. So anyway, speaking of, using your platform to help with your self journey or people helping with their self journey, you all make sure that you are watching, or well, not watching, that you are listening and subscribe to the Michael Experience podcast, which is available on all streaming platforms. Because this week we move out of the dating series and we move into the self journey. And so like I said earlier in this show, one of the main things I look to do is to use my life as a soundboard, and I like to use my lessons to make other people feel seen, heard, and understood. Because I feel like what happens is we learn a lot of things in this life, right? We go through a lot of things in this life, but we don't often share it out of shame, out of embarrassment, and sometimes we just don't have the words. I can't tell you how many times I've been in conversation with people and they'll say, "Oh my God, Michael, I was feeling exactly what you described. I just couldn't put words to it." And I think that is one of the most powerful things as far as feedback that I can hear from people, is that I took my situation and I put it into real palatable words that have helped you feel more seen, heard, and understood. And now I've given you license, or giving you the battery that you needed to put into your voice, because you just didn't have it. You knew what you felt, right? We all feel things our body remembers, but you're just like, dang, I didn't know how to say it. And you gave me the phrase that pays. So I'm always so happy when that is the feedback. And then when people say, Mike, you literally saved my life. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to take credit for that. But thank you very much for allowing me to be a small part of it. So y'all make sure y'all are following my TME podcast everywhere you can listen to your podcast, every platform: iHeart, Pandora, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Podsheen, whatever they got. My podcast is there for you to listen to. Timothy Fisher, welcome to the family. Thank you so much. Welcome to Mike in the Morning. hmm And so, like I told you all, my self journey. Good morning. Your voice is so welcoming. Thank you, Mary Jane. Get on in here. Welcome to Mike in the Morning. So, again, the self journey kicks off this Wednesday, and new episodes are every Wednesday at 3 p.m. But the first episode of the podcast is titled Do I Love Me? Do I Love Me Not? And this episode is about loving yourself first. So I wanted to give you a first preview before it drops. So take a listen. And decentering the thoughts, the expectations, and perceptions of everyone else. We have to do it. And it doesn't feel good at the beginning, but my God, once you let go and you are allowed to be who you are, and those people are allowed to be who they are, everyone wins in that dynamic. And maybe your paths cross later. Maybe somebody else's growing blocks require them to do some different and deeper work, something outside of what you've both known. Perhaps the same is for you. Your work is just different. And maybe if it's meant to be, you guys will come back in some capacity later when both of you have grown into whoever it is you were meant to be or trying to be. But we do this thing where we say, no, I have some ownership to them. They have ownership to me. And I don't want to let it go. And it feels uncomfortable. But what's more uncomfortable? Numbing yourself, diluting yourself, muting yourself. What is more uncomfortable than doing those things, self-sacrificing for the possibility, and you don't even know what other people are thinking, for the possibility that someone else is feeling, thinking, having some alternate experience that is going to, I don't know, rip you apart or make you feel sad or make you feel guilty.
all of these things that we think about as we self-sabotage in some ways. And maybe we need to talk about that in one of these podcast episodes, because I think there are a lot of us who self-sabotage without even knowing it.
So, you guys, that is the snippet. That is the snippet from the first of the Self Journey podcast series. But I go on and I tussle with how much I wanted to share of that. But I go on to talk about how the real shame in it, obviously, from this is diluting yourself and making yourself feel small or minimizing yourself. But I go on to say that at times where we are placing so much of ourselves in someone else. And so that was the point at the beginning. Like, we have to decenter around what other people's expectations and thoughts are and center around who we are so that we have a strong foundation moving forward. Because the real shame is that if we continue living our lives wondering what people are thinking, wondering what people might say and how they're interpreting the way that we move through life, is not only is that person going through the same self journey in some form or another, but you lose yourself along that path, and that person also loses themselves. And so at the end of the day, we're just two lost people that never really got to know each other because we didn't know each other. And so that conversation was really about how you have to love yourself first and you have to learn how to put yourself first. And it seems like the hard thing to do because we're so conditioned that, we got to do this for the job, we got to do this for the family, we got to do this for society, but we forget to put ourselves at the center of it. And so that's what this series is really all about. So the self journey series starts Wednesday. The Michael Experience podcast is everywhere you listen to your podcasts. And so I'm very, very proud to be in season 2 of that. So y'all make sure y'all go over there and support. And as always, I want to talk about our goals for this year. So hopefully we all are working through. Coco, welcome to the family. Welcome to Mike in the Morning. So hopefully we are all working through our goals at this point. I'm going to keep challenging us every single day. Did you get your butt in the gym? Did you cut off those subscriptions that you didn't need? Did you change one or two things about the way that you're eating? Right? Like, what are you giving up this year in order to make yourself better? So I told you all that I was giving up alcohol. And so we are 13 days in and I haven't had any. You know what I'm saying? And I haven't really wanted any. My best friend calls me the other day. He said, "You know what, friend? I think we should give up alcohol this year." And I said, "Friend, you are so late. You are so late because I've been told you I was giving it up and I have been done." And he's like, "I'm going to go over here and get this imitation substitute." I said, "Well, you have at it. I don't need it." "No, it's really good." "I don't need it." I don't need it. And I didn't give it up for any, superficial reasons. I gave it up because I had been wanting to for a very long time. And for whatever reason, I just didn't. And maybe some of it is I did use it as a crutch. Let me just be honest. I did use it as a crutch. I get frustrated. I get overwhelmed. And I'm like, you know what? I just want to block out all my thoughts and the rest of the world. Y'all tap that screen for me. And I was like, I am going to go in here and take 3 shots to the head and then, fall out on the floor or something, but in reality, I didn't really need it. My personality is already through the roof and I already have a good time just being my normal self without any other enhancements or things like that. So I gave it up and it's been easy for me at this point. I'm not even craving it. I don't need a substitute. So, good on me. But in my health and fitness journey, it honestly helps, right? Because I'm not mixing it up and I'm not, it's not sitting on my stomach and stuff like that. So hopefully you all have a New Year's resolution that you're working through too. Thank you, Chantel. You said I'm amazing. Thank you. I try. Rachel, how you doing? And thank you so much. Good morning, Renee. Welcome to Mike in the Morning. How you doing? So, hopefully you are working through your things too. And again, I have a list of things that I want to do out in the world and stuff like that. And honestly, this mixer wasn't even, so I didn't know about this mixer that I'm going to on Wednesday, or tomorrow, technically. But I didn't know about this mixer and it just popped up and I was like, oh, great. Cause I've been saying that I need to, expand my network or really create a network since I've been here. Cause I don't talk to people very often. I've been kind of in the house. And so this networking thing actually falls on my to-do list. And I'm going to continue out in the world. And I've been showing you guys, like, when I go out into the world, what I'm looking at and what inspires me and what makes me feel good. So hopefully you all are doing that too. and I'm giving you my skincare, and I'm giving you my fitness and workout stuff that you all have asked for because I'm not a gatekeeper. So I just want to empower people to reach their goals this year. I'm doing the career class, or maybe not doing the career class because the ticket sales have been really slow, if I'm being honest with you all. I'm thinking I'm going to refund the people that have paid for the career class, and I may cancel that, which is fine, right? Which is fine. This is what I know, right? And I was so upset. Let me tell you this. So I was so upset as I was sitting here thinking like, oh my God, all the time that I spent pulling the curriculum and the workbooks and talking points and stuff like that, and then doing the tickets and stuff. And I said to myself, Michael, stuff is just not working. It's just not working. And I started to feel really, really bad about it. And then I said, you know what? You tried something that you wanted to try, and that's where the real gift in it is, and that's where the real value in it is, because I wouldn't have otherwise pushed myself to create a curriculum that I could probably use in some form or fashion. I don't know, I can turn it into a DVD or something, or maybe I can turn it to a series on YouTube or something. I don't know. But the beautiful thing in it is I already have the framework for something, and maybe later down the line it will be wonderful. But the good thing in it is I'm like, I already have the foundation, and just when the timing is right, I'll bring it back. So I will probably go ahead and cancel that. I just figured I would wait until Friday to see what it's looking like for ticket sales. And if they don't pick up, I'm just going to refund the people, and I will figure out another method to do it. But I'm sharing this not because I want you to feel bad for me or buy the tickets if you don't feel like you need it or the value isn't there for the $20. It is just because I want everybody to stay empowered and stay motivated for their goals this year. And even in those moments where you feel like nothing is working, and I've tried this and I've done this over and over and over, the good thing in it is that you went for something that you really wanted to do. You pushed yourself to think beyond what was possible. And you pushed yourself to structure, and you pushed yourself to just go through the end of it. And I think that's the beautiful thing at the end of it. So even though the tickets didn't go off the shelves like I thought they would, I still feel like a winner in that it is there just in case I pick it up and decide to do something else with it. So there you have it. So keep going with your dreams, everybody. Again, our mantra for this year is we are collecting all of the funds all around us in 2026, and we are leaving nothing on the table. But in order for us to not leave anything on the table, we have to come to the table, and we have to mix and match ingredients to figure out what tastes good and ultimately what feels good. So good morning, Chantel. Good morning, Joan. So I hope you all are enjoying Mike in the Morning. If you guys came in late, the replay will be available on my YouTube. Y'all make sure y'all go follow my YouTube. I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers so they can monetize me over there. I'm going to tell you why. I want to get monetized on YouTube so I can start getting paid to be up here talking and carrying on and stuff like that. I don't get paid over here on TikTok unless y'all send me gifts or cash apps and stuff like that, which are really, over here. But make sure you go follow the Michael Experience on YouTube, the Michael Experience podcast, anywhere you listen to your fine podcasts, and click my links for all the stuff that you've asked me about: skincare, fitness, whatever it is. There's a link in my bio for you to go and get yours. All right. So thank y'all for joining Mike in the Morning. I will see y'all tomorrow at 5 a.m. and y'all have the most amazing day. Peace and love, y'all. Bye.